In the first two parts, we explored how the mind is the main source of human suffering and how the present moment can free us from it. But deeper insights from the book remain. How can the mind be used as a tool rather than an enemy? In this third part of the Power of Now summary, we dive into techniques and insights that guide you toward true awareness and presence in everyday life. Section 8. Conscious Relationships. Ego in Relationships. Eckhart Tolle explains that most human relationships are based on unconscious patterns rather than awareness. People often seek relationships to fulfill a need, complete themselves, or validate their identity. These needs are rooted in the ego, and relationships become a stage for egoic drama, conflict, and dependency. The ego uses relationships to reinforce its sense of self, often without the individuals being aware of it. Tolle emphasizes that unconscious relationships are a primary source of pain and frustration. Expectations, attachments, and projections create tension and emotional suffering. When the ego dominates, people unconsciously try to control others, manipulate situations, or seek approval, leading to repeated cycles of conflict and disappointment. Most arguments, resentments, and misunderstandings arise from these unconscious patterns. Conscious relationships, on the other hand, emerge when both individuals cultivate awareness and presence. In a conscious relationship, people do not rely on the other person to complete them or provide happiness. Instead, they engage with each other from a place of presence, acceptance, and inner wholeness. The relationship becomes a space for growth, learning, and mutual support rather than dependency and conflict. Tolle explains that presence is key to conscious relationships. When both partners are fully present, the ego's influence diminishes. Reactions that normally trigger conflict, anger, jealousy, fear, lose their intensity. Awareness allows one to respond rather than react automatically, creating space for understanding and compassion. Communication becomes clearer, and emotional energy is no longer wasted on egoic battles. The author also points out that conscious relationships require personal responsibility. Each individual must be aware of their own inner patterns, triggers, and pain bodies. By recognizing when the ego is active, one can choose to step out of reactive patterns and engage from presence. This self-awareness transforms the dynamics of the relationship and allows deeper intimacy and connection. Tolle provides practical guidance for cultivating conscious relationships. He encourages mindfulness in interactions, active listening, and noticing when old emotional patterns surface. By bringing awareness to these moments, individuals can prevent the ego from taking over. The relationship then becomes a mirror, reflecting unconscious patterns that can be observed, acknowledged, and released. Ultimately, conscious relationships are not about perfection or absence of conflict. They are about awareness, presence, and choosing to act from a place of inner wholeness rather than egoic need. These relationships support personal growth, deepen emotional intelligence, and foster a profound sense of connection that is free from the unconscious compulsions of the ego. In summary, most human relationships are dominated by ego, leading to dependency, conflict, and suffering. Conscious relationships arise when individuals bring awareness and presence into their interactions, weakening the ego's influence. Through mindfulness, self-awareness, and presence, relationships transform into spaces of growth, understanding, and genuine connection. Section 9. Beyond Happiness and Unhappiness, Inner Peace. Eckhart Tolle explains that happiness and unhappiness are both temporary emotional states, dependent on circumstances and conditions. People often pursue happiness as if it were a permanent state to achieve. Yet this pursuit creates continuous longing, disappointment, and frustration. True inner peace, Tolle argues, is something deeper and more enduring than these transient emotional highs and lows. He emphasizes that emotional states such as joy, sadness, or anger are natural, but identifying oneself with these states creates instability. When a person's sense of self is anchored in happiness or sadness, life becomes a roller coaster of reactions. By contrast, when one is anchored in presence, emotions are experienced fully without defining the self. Awareness of the now allows one to feel emotions without becoming enslaved to them. Tolle introduces the concept of being at peace with what is. This peace is independent of external circumstances and arises when one stops resisting life internally. Acceptance of the present moment, combined with awareness, dissolves the tension created by attachment to specific outcomes or desires. Inner peace is not something to attain in the future. It is always available in the present. Another key insight is that searching for permanent happiness often reinforces the ego. The ego constantly seeks fulfillment, security, or recognition, creating an endless cycle of wanting and resisting. By stepping out of ego identification and living fully in the present, a person can access a deeper, stable sense of well-being that is not contingent on conditions. Tolle explains practical ways to cultivate inner peace. One method is to observe emotions as they arise, noticing them without judgment or mental commentary. Another is to return attention to the body or breath, anchoring oneself in the present. Even ordinary activities, when performed with awareness, become opportunities to experience inner calm and clarity. He also notes that inner peace allows for conscious choice rather than automatic reaction. When the mind is at rest and presence is cultivated, responses to challenging situations become measured and intelligent rather than impulsive or habitual. Life becomes less about reacting to circumstances and more about participating consciously in each moment. Tolle stresses that peace does not mean the absence of difficulties or challenges. Life will inevitably present problems, but inner peace provides the capacity to face them with clarity, balance, and resilience. This stability transforms how a person experiences both positive and negative events, creating freedom from the constant emotional turbulence caused by attachment to outcomes. In summary, happiness and unhappiness are temporary states, while true inner peace is a deep, enduring quality available in the present moment. By cultivating presence, observing emotions without attachment, and accepting what is, one can experience a profound sense of calm, freedom, and clarity that transcends the fleeting fluctuations of ordinary emotional life. Section 10. Surrender and Final Integration/Conscious Living. Eckhart Tolle concludes The Power of Now by emphasizing the importance of surrender, which is the conscious acceptance of the present moment. Surrender does not mean giving up or being passive. It is the inner acknowledgement of what is, without resistance or judgment. When a person surrenders to the now, they align with life rather than struggle against it, creating an inner space of freedom, peace, and clarity. Tolle explains that surrender is the opposite of resistance. Resistance fuels the ego and perpetuates suffering. It arises whenever the mind says, "This shouldn't be happening," or "I don't want this." Surrender, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to cease internal struggle, allowing life to unfold naturally. It is an act of intelligence and inner strength, not weakness. Through surrender, the mind and ego lose their grip. By fully accepting the present moment, a person stops generating mental and emotional tension. Problems remain, but they are no longer compounded by internal resistance. This creates the conditions for conscious, thoughtful action rather than reactive behavior. The energy previously spent on struggle becomes available for creativity, compassion, and meaningful engagement with life. Tolle also highlights that surrender is a practice, not a one-time achievement. It involves noticing moments of resistance, letting go, and returning to awareness repeatedly. Even small acts of surrender accumulate, gradually transforming consciousness and life experience. Over time, surrender becomes a natural, effortless state rather than a deliberate effort. Another key aspect of conscious living is integration. Tolle encourages readers to integrate all teachings: presence, awareness of the mind, acceptance, inner body practice, and understanding of the pain body into daily life. Integration is about bringing these insights into ordinary activities, relationships, and work. Life itself becomes the practice of consciousness, and every moment offers an opportunity to deepen presence and awareness. The author emphasizes that conscious living is not about escaping challenges or difficulties. Life will always present obstacles, but through presence, acceptance, and surrender, these challenges are faced with clarity, calm, and wisdom. Conscious living transforms ordinary experiences into opportunities for spiritual growth, emotional balance, and fulfillment. Finally, Tolle points out that surrender and integration lead to a profound understanding of life, that inner peace, happiness, and freedom are not obtained from external circumstances, but emerge naturally when one stops resisting and begins to live fully in the now. This is the culmination of the power of now, a life rooted in presence, awareness, and conscious choice. In summary, surrender is the conscious acceptance of what is, ending the internal struggle and freeing energy for awareness and action. Integration involves bringing all the principles of presence and consciousness into daily life, transforming ordinary living into an ongoing practice of awakening. Through surrender and conscious living, humans experience freedom, inner peace, and a deeper connection to life itself. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more insights like these, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Join our community and stay connected for more tips on presence, awareness, and personal growth. See you in the next video.